Good morning, good afternoon, wherever you're at, guys. Welcome to Just Dan. I'm your host, Dan. I tried to do a stream last night, right? Tried to do a stream last night. Didn't work out too well, and I had to pop back over to StreamYard. I was using Restream. There were some technical difficulties going on there, a lot of buffering, so I went ahead and canceled that live stream. So, I had a decent conversation with some guys last night. We was talking about what I'm going to talk about today real quick. Not going to be very long, but they raised the issue for me, right? And I kind of explained it last night. There's a revisiting of Corey Miner's prior case. And if you don't know, there's videos on Palm Videos out there about it, right? And I'm not here to defend Corey by any means, but I am here to boil everything down to the truth, right? So with that, I think a lot of people are accepting a narrative that may not really be that accurate. And going back and reviewing some stuff, I think I came to that conclusion. So with that, right, and we're going to look at two videos that kind of discuss what I have a concern about. And it's really, I'm to the point, guys. And I was thinking about this last night. Right? I watched a group of content creators on YouTube. They was covering the courtroom coverage of the Charlie Kirk case, or I guess you can call it the Tyler Robinson case now. I don't know, whatever. And I watched, and I don't know if they're Christian or not. I think a few of them are. I watched all these content creators come together and build a live stream where they talked about the case and what was being presented and everything. But these people came together, right? and built something together. And more so than not, it is the trend in Christianity to just go around tearing everybody else down. Tearing each other down. And that's why I became disenfranchised, honestly, with doing content on YouTube. And if you're a subscriber of the channel, you see I just do AI songs, and I'm not calling myself a music producer or anything like that. Trust me, I'm not even saying that. I just have a feeling. I use AI for the lyrics and then produce a song. I'm not calling myself a music producer or anything like that. It's just it's music that I would like to hear, or telling what it's just music, right? I'll just say that. I'll leave it at that. But so I'm watching these people come together as content creators and build something, but hardly ever you see that in Christianity. Everybody wants to have their own channel. Everybody wants to do their own thing and benefit from it, right? So today's topic is the Corey Miner case. Now, let me say this up front and let me be very clear. And if Corey ever sees this, brother, I'm coming to you in love. And I think you kind of know it, but I don't know how you would go about. Well, I guess, I'll let you figure that out. I'm not going to try to tell you what to do on your channel. I will say this, Corey, you did muff up your testimony. I will say that. Now, there could be several reasons why. And I'm not going to go into assumptions about that. But I do believe if you laid out your testimony as a whole and just complete transparency and do you owe the social media audience this? I mean, people could argue that left or right, right? So I think where the confusion comes in is, does Corey owe people? Is he paying them? There was some kind of confusion in some of your answers. I totally agree about that. And I think you can kind of see that looking back, like, okay, I can see where people kind of get confused. And maybe with some of the documents that were produced, knowing most of us don't know. I've never been in the court system, so I can't tell you the processes or anything like that. Let me do this. Put that on vibrate. So I can't really say anything about that, right? And some people argue that you lie. Some people will defend you, so on and so forth. That's not my case here. That's not my case. My case is what is being said, considering what is being accepted and pushed, right? Now, if you've been around for a while, we know that Corey went to jail or went to prison for mail fraud and apparently misappropriation of funds, I guess you could call it. I mean, you can call it stealing or whatever. I'm not here to drop the hammer on that. Did his time. I mean, there were some issues in his marriage. I'm not going to discuss that either. I mean, it's not. Look, at the end of the day, guys, we're on social media, and most of us are geographically separated. Most of us have never met in real live person. Most of us have never met, right? And maybe, who knows, ever will. So, but we take on this mentality that people owe us stuff, right? You owe me your complete history. I need to see everything. But I'm not involved in your life Monday through Friday, Saturday, Sunday, 24 hours a day. You know, you're not there to pick me up if my car is broken down, right? But we feel like everybody owes somebody something. And it's insane to me to hear that somebody was calling hospitals, and nobody thought to say, bro, that's a little deep. You're calling hospitals to find out if somebody's sick. First of all, that hospital is not going to give you that information. That's the first thing. Those medical professionals are not going to violate HIPAA for some random person who calls on the phone wanting to check on another person that's going through something. Now, I don't know what Corey was ill with. Wasn't there? He doesn't owe me his medical records, doesn't owe me an x-ray. All I know that his wife said he was sick. As a Christian, let's pray for him. Whatever he's going through. I don't need to analyze that. I don't need to analyze, well, maybe he was sick because he's in sin, or did it, whatever. Because you're making assumptions right there because you don't have any data to back any of that up. And I'm saying this across the board and Corey's situation is, I mean, it's just an example, right? It's just an example. Hold on just a second. But we're calling hospitals to check on people when we demanding medical records to prove somebody was sick for what? Well, he lied before. Well, I mean, I'm pretty sure any of us have lied before. What are we doing? What are we concerned with? We're concerned about tearing each other down, making videos about each other, blah, 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 so on and so forth. But we're not concerned about spreading the gospel, making disciples, bearing each other's burden, right? And I'm just going to say this. If we're so concerned and we clutch our pearls at people being defrauded out of money, and we know for the most part, somebody's not going to be able to hold on just a second. What are we doing for the victims? If we know there's victims, what are we doing for them? If we know that Corey can't pay back $2.8 million, or it will take him years upon years to do that, what are we doing as Christians? What are we doing as Christians to bear that burden, right? Are we doing that? I don't know. So I'm going to get into the videos real quick. My concern is what is being said. That's my concern. Because is it really true? Is it really true? Let's see. So I was on this panel. And Corey actually showed up to this panel. And there was a interesting discussion that happened on this panel. And I want you to listen closely to what's being said, and we'll comment throughout it, right? Let's go.
Yeah.
Okay. So what did I lie about?
Can I ask you a question? Who mentioned mail fraud first? Me or you?
You said I repeated. I said, what was it for? Mail fraud?
No. You literally said mail fraud before I
exactly.
said it.
What's your point? Whether I said it first or not, what's your point?
Okay, Seiko, take it down a little bit. I'm trying to be cordial and respond with you. Mm-hmm. My point is that you knew about it, which meant you lied when you told people you never knew.
I knew nothing about the 64 plus victims that you stole money from, Corey. I knew nothing about the amount. I knew nothing about $2,874,469.63 that you stole from at least 64 victims, Corey.
Okay, so here's my point. Here's the point that I'm trying to make. First.
Now, is that a staple in this? Is it something to be discussed? I'll leave that up to Corey.
So it's not a lie if I don't go into every single detail. You might think it's pertinent. The only reason why you think it's pertinent because you didn't think it was pertinent then to ask them.
No, I didn't know that was as much serious of a crime. You made it light. You made the mail fraud situation light. That you just put a letter in the mail and that was it. You didn't say.
I told you. I told you what I was doing. I didn't tell you how many times, to who, Corey. To what degree. Wait a second. Because like everyone else, like you've never given your full story of your testimony, nor has really anyone even asked about it. So I told about your testimony, Seiko.
What about my testimony?
Seiko, you gotta let me finish.
You mentioned my testimony. I'm just responding to what you said. But
now, how true is this across the board for everybody? Right? Is it a thing now with testimonies? And I'm not saying that we need to edit it by any means. I mean, God gives us our testimony for a reason, right? But are we to the point in Christianity where, like, no, I need to know every single detail about your testimony, what went on, who, the 5 W's, how, all that stuff. You need to lay it out to me. I need the receipts for it. I mean, Now, I get it if somebody tells their testimony and it comes out that it's not entirely true or they lied about it. I get that part. But on the same token, it's like, it does everybody tell everything about their testimony or honestly about anything? Just think about like when you're having a conversation. I was like, I mean, you try to give as much detail when you're talking, right? But you're not going to give every single detail when you're talking to somebody, be it consciously or unconsciously. You might leave out details here and there. And I'm not making an excuse. I'm just giving, the arena on which conversations happen, right? So let's continue.
But go ahead.
Well, listen to what I said. Then your testimony. The point is, no one's asked you about all the details. No one said, "Well, Seiko, you lied because you didn't give all the details." I told you that I took money, and how I did it. I said I went through the scheme of it. I said I wouldn't go through all of the intricacies because you were doing an interview about something else, and so why spend 3-4 hours? Because every time I tell someone about the charge, and every time I tell somebody about what was happening, because the first thing I'll say, well, it was mail fraud. And they said, well, how do you get that much? And how's that? And I got to go through all this laundry list, all these different things or whatever. And so therefore I gave you what I thought I needed to tell you. If you felt like that was lying, I don't know why that was lying, because I told you I stole money. I told you how the scheme was being done, and the charge was mail fraud.
Correct.
So where was the lie? I said earlier,
the lie is that you omitted critical information, i.e., you lied on your pastor, who's now deceased, Pastor Willie.
How did I lie on him? Hold on.
You said he threw you. You say he threw you under the bus. The man said, "Hold on, no, Corey, no. It is a lie. You're lying. The man sat there and heard those victims. You said it on the video. Did you not hear what you just said?
I said he threw me on the bus.
Yeah, you said it on the video. You didn't hear that?
No, I didn't.
Let me read the transcript. You want to play the video back for you again?
Hey, Seiko, before you go there, hold on, stop. I think Corey, what I think I may have been the blame to this.
No, why?
Because because the way it happened is when we heard your story and you said how you went from your one particular firm and then you ventured out on your own, we all thought that it was a technicality of mailing. It's like robbing Peter to pay Paul. I take this money, put it in that account. That comes when the funds come in, I put it back. That's what we were thinking. So immediately with me, I don't know if I told you, but I said before, you know what? One of the things that you could probably do now is teach people how to invest. So I'm like, I go online, I look at some investment stuff, I type in Corey Minor, and this is where I see the stuff in regards to what happened and how you could never do that practice again. And then I said, Seiko, this wasn't just.
I'll say this. Most people know in finance, when you violate something like that, or you have a charge like that, 9 times out of 10, you're not going to be able to practice that business ever again in that capacity, right? Because there's certain fields that carry that kind of weight. If you violate their policies, rules, laws, and regulations, you're pretty much done. Your license pulled, and you're never going to get that again. It's like in real estate, finance, somewhat IT security, a lot of different things. It's like even the military, you get your secret clearance pulled, you're done, right? You get a domestic charge, you're done. So was there assumptions made there? Yeah. Is it that heavy? I wouldn't say so. But that's not really the point of this. But let's go.
And oops, it wasn't. I owe American Express. Let me finish my point real quick.
Hold on, no, because guys, I'm not trying to be mean. I really am not. And I'm trying to give you what you've been looking for. I just got through working out. With my gloves, my water. I just got through working out. So you know what? And in X call, I saw this was on. I saw the end part of it. And so I'm sitting there looking. I was in the kitchen. My wife said the phone's calling, and so she was listening. She said. And I appreciate the call. You pick up. Hold on. Let me finish. At no point did I say he threw me underneath the bus. So apologize for lying and putting that out there, because people keep saying you threw your past. I know I didn't. First of all, I said, and I've gone on and said that what he said, I was the reason why he said it. Now, he did come back and apologize, but I'm not, I said that I was guilty. I'm not an innocent person, and that what I got, I deserve. As a matter of fact, I go on to say that I deserve to be there. Those are my kind of people. That's where the Lord had me to be at. So I didn't throw him underneath the bus. I didn't throw my attorney underneath the bus, although she was guilty of ineffective assistance counsel. She had never, ever asked for evidence or understood the statute.
Now, I'll say this. I looked this up, and majority of the time when somebody's found guilty, regardless if they plead guilty or they're found guilty, a lot of times that person is going to file for ineffective counseling, right? Because nobody's like really wanting to go to prison, so they're going to exhaust all the available avenues for that. I'm not making an excuse for Corey. It's just some research I've done that majority of people that get found guilty, I mean, they'll exercise ineffective counseling or so on and so forth, appeals process, so on. So that, I mean, that's nothing strange, right?
Did you agree? Did you agree? Did you agree? Did you agree? Did you agree to the counsel that you had, Corey?
Everybody that files ineffective counsel, has to plead guilty first. You know why, Seiko? You know why people file ineffective assistance counsel even after pleading guilty? Is because you don't know the law. I don't know the law. I had no idea. She told me, hey, sounds like you're guilty. And I knew I was guilty of something. So go ahead and plead guilty and then just move on. Okay. And so I filed ineffective assistance counsel for a good reason. She never actually looked at the evidence or anything. So that's not wrong. As a matter of fact, I know you put up a clip earlier of Tarwin's tag. I don't know if he's still in the deal, but ask Tarwin how I explained to him. Does he agree that was ineffective counsel? Ask him. Pleading guilty doesn't mean that you're always guilty of the particular charge. It's like jaywalking.
Hold it, Corey.
No, let me make my point.
Were you guilty of defrauding these victims? Yes or no?
Sure.
Okay. Did you pay them back yet?
No, I did not.
You lied.
And I cannot.
Now, here comes the sticking point, guys. Now we're getting into, did you defraud him? Corey openly admits that he defrauded or took the money. Said it right there, right? So there's an admission there. Now we're getting into the sticking point of if people have been paid back or not. Now, Corey, this is my hope, wish, recommendation, whatever you want to say. At some point in time, just make it black and white, right? Just lay it out, iron it out, and let it die, right? Now, do I feel like you owe, like, showing your bank statement, your federal account where money is, exchanged, so on and so forth? Me personally, no. But some people will hound you until they see that. But these are Christians too, the same people that say we walk by faith, not by sight, but we need to see every single receipt of your life. You see what I'm saying? So this is where we're getting into the meat of it.
You lied and said that you did, Corey.
When?
Let me play videos then. Let me play videos for you. Because apparently
you're gonna play that clip from Walter Jones, but if you let
no. I'm gonna play everything you said.
No,
Corey.
Seiko, listen.
Corey,
Seiko.
Are you paying the victims right now?
Seiko, let me just say
yes
this
or no.
Again.
Are you paying the victims right now?
I am paying right now.
You're paying the victims right now.
Mm-hmm. You know what? That's the last thing someone asked me. That's what I said, right?
You said you're not. No, you said you're not paying them.
Now, again, Corey, I would say make it clearly plain. I've heard you say that you're paying them. I've also heard you say that they're paid. There's confusion there. But the thing I'm going to get to is, do we still have to throw the $2.8 million out there like it's still the outstanding balance? That's my point, really, of this all. And do we even know if that was even the starting balance? You see what I'm saying? Because when somebody says you owe $2.8 million, that's a shock value that a lot of people grasp their pearls. You're like, oh my, you took $2.8 million and that's still gone. But we don't know what has been paid, what has been confiscated, obtained by the federal government. I don't know how many payments Corey's made over the years. Really none of my business, honestly. If we're being honest, I don't need to know if Corey's paying it. There's a system in place, right? Because Corey had probation after he got out, had to report to a probation officer, parole officer, whatever. And there's a system in that. And he's explained that system, right? They look at all your accounts, what you're doing, blah, blah, blah. So is the government failing? Is the government failing the victims? Because he can't give the victim $1 directly. He can't walk up to him and say, here, put this on my books type of deal. It has to be cycled through the government that made that decision. And then they pay out to the victims. He's not paying the victims directly. The government is facilitating that. So now are we saying the government is failing? Because I'm pretty sure they know about Corey. They got his social security number. They got all of his information, all of this. And if he's making money, now I get it. If somebody sets up an LLC and so on and so forth, puts it in other people's name, whatever, however everybody wants to research this investigation. I mean, really, most of y'all need to stop doing investigations and study the word, but whatever. But let's continue.
You said you're not paying them, Corey.
When I said
not paying them.
I said that I am paying. I said there's a reason.
No, you
why
said
I'm
you're
paying.
not paying them. Matter of fact, here it is right here.
Have you paid the $2.8 million? How are you still qualified to be a pastor? I'll never be your pastor. Kick rocks. I'm lying about what? Have I personally out of my pocket paid? Nope, can't, never will, never will, never will. Have I personally out of my pocket paid? Nope, can't, never will.
That's
okay,
you.
And
That's
I
you.
never will be able to pay $2.8 million.
And he explains right there, I will never be able to pay $2.8 million, which is reasonable. Now, is Corey saying he still owes $2.8 million, or is he referring to that? I don't know. But I kind of get where he's coming from. And I can kind of see the confusion as well, right? Let's keep it balanced. Well, you're saying never will. A person can come to the conclusion that you're not making any payments at all, that you're not concerned about paying. You see that point? But on the same point, saying never will could be acknowledging, yeah, I'm never going to be able to pay $2.8 million, but I'm paying what I can pay. That's an argument too, right? Let's be balanced.
You said you're not paying them back.
I said I never will be able to pay $2.8 million.
And then you said you did pay them back. Then you said you did pay them back.
Okay, let's
so
see.
Which one is it, Corey? Which one is it? That's all I'm asking.
How about you ask me a question? How about you do this? How about you ask me a question and let me answer it? How about you let me answer the question and not try to put strings on me? I know my, first of all, I know my story better than you.
Well, you probably don't know any time you're lying about it.
Okay, see, you called what you thought was my PO, which it was. I don't know who that was.
And now this is a major sticking point here too. And this is what maybe take a pause, take a knee, and look back, because it could be several factors, right? It could be that maybe I misheard or came to my own conclusion about what is being said or done. But it was an interesting exchange here. And I want you guys to listen closely to what exactly is being said.
What you call? You can't call a federal probation officer.
Hey, Corey, did they lie? Did they lie about what you said? Did they lie about what you owe? Did they lie?
Did
they lie about what you owe? Did they lie?
Yeah, they did.
They did. So you have paid.
You call probation. Did you call probation?
Now I want you to hear that. Did they lie about what you owe? Now And I'm going to show you the only evidence that we have on this. I ain't going to say this side, but the only evidence that we have that Corey owes anything, and I use air quotes, is based on a call that was published. And I'm going to play that call, and I want you to listen to what's being said then. So this accusation of saying, did the office lie about what you owe? Well, what he owes, I'll pose this question. Was it ever established what he does owe? And here's the thing that you can research too, and I researched it. You're not going to be able to call a federal probation officer, federal parole officer directly. You call the office, right? But they're not going to again, this is like the hospital, right? They're not allowed to give you the information concerning that person. Like, you can't call up like, hey, I need to know what Bob owes and where's he at in this case and blah, 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 blah. And you have no connection to the case, no credentials, nothing. They're not going to give you that information. And I want you to hear it in the call after I play this. I want you to hear in the call how that conversation went. And is there assumptions being made based on court documents rather than what was being told or pushed or established? I want you to hear the difference in that. But I also want you to hear this exchange, because honestly, at this point, it kind of made me take a pause, because I was like, well, wait a minute. Let's continue.
I called the number.
And what they tell you? What they tell you?
You heard the recording. You heard what they said. You still owe money.
I know. They didn't.
You heard the recording. You still owe money. Now, one would assume at this point it was said directly that, yes, Corey Minor, yes, he owes, this is his balance on his account, which they would never, ever. And if they do, they're violating a lot of laws, and they're going to get their credentials pulled. Again, I'm not defending Corey. I'm just giving you facts, guys. Now, you heard what was said, right? They said what you owe. They don't. I'm not going to spoil it for you, but listen.
I didn't even know who I was, because you didn't call him. You called somebody else.
I called the probation office. And here's the question.
Which at the time, and I spoke to somebody about this, at the time, it could have been anybody who answered that phone, right? It's an office. Like most offices, if the phone rings, whoever's there, who's ever on duty at that time is going to answer the phone. It wasn't necessarily somebody directly involved with Corey. Don't know. Never heard the person's name. So we don't know if that's the person that was dealing directly with Corey or if somebody was in the office answering the phone. Right? All right, let's continue.
Which probation office?
Do you still owe the money? You say you didn't owe.
Seiko, here's the problem.
Corey, you're deflecting, Corey. You're good at deflecting, but you're not good here. You're not good here, Corey. I'm just asking you, do you still owe these victims money? Do you still owe these victims money, Corey? Now you're here. Tell the people, show the receipts that you owe, that you paid the money. Show them.
Seiko, listen, quit trying to bash me.
I'm not bashing you, brother. I'm just asking you a question.
Let me answer my question.
Produce the receipts.
You told the people that you called my PO, which you didn't. That was a lie. You did not. If so, matter of fact, put a number up. Put the number.
I'm not put the number up.
You lied.
Hold on, no. You deflecting, Corey.
See, and here's the imbalance. We want receipts from one, but we're not willing to produce the receipts from the other, right? It was a fair ask. I mean, you call somebody, who did you call?
You deflected.
The reason why
you deflected. I call whoever has your PO information. That's what I call.
The reason why this is pertinent is because you tried to create a particular narrative.
Corey,
these people don't.
I didn't lie. Corey, I didn't lie.
I'm gonna say this is questionable. because I'm gonna play the phone call, and you're going to hear the exchange, and we're going to kind of walk through it. And knowing that the office would never give a random person, the information on a person's ledger or however you want to say that. I mean, you guys can Google that. It'll say it directly. No, you cannot get this information. So is that completely truthful? I'm going to let you guys decide on that, just listening in comparison.
Can I finish? Okay.
You trying to deflect.
Hold on.
I'm trying to answer. I'm trying to answer, Seiko.
Hey,
Corey, questions, and then you keep going. You won't let me answer. You want me to answer the way you want me to answer.
Hey, Corey, so let me ask you a question. So are you saying that you have to connect or call the right parole officer, or does it work differently?
You can't call just in. First of all, I don't think he called a federal parole officer. Because if he did,
so how did I get the information? How did I get the information?
What information did we get? Again, keep notes. What information? See, what's being said, is that really what's being produced? Think about this.
Wait a second. Hold on a second. Go ahead, bro.
Because if you call a federal probation, not the court, the federal probation officer, they don't talk to you. He wouldn't have known who it was at that time. He couldn't have known who it was at that time. They don't even listen.
How did I get
and so, like I said, we can. All you got to do is put the number on the screen, and I can show you what the person number. I'll put the card up.
How about you put the number of the people that you paid back?
No.
And I find it strange that doesn't want to be answered or squashed. But nevertheless.
How about that?
So you can't keep interrupting me. You can't keep interrupting me.
Keep talking, dude.
So
you keep interrupting me. I say something, and then you want to interrupt me. I can't. The only thing that you want to hear me say is what you want me to say.
Go ahead, Corey.
Okay, hold on, Corey. So what you're saying is that if someone calls in with your docket information or anything, that you're not in the system far as paying an amount, so it works totally different.
You could listen to this, because Corey's actually right here. Again, look it up yourself, verify yourself, but he's right here.
A person can call the court. They can call the federal court and get whatever information that is available per the court. They cannot call the probation officer. The probation officer is not at liberty to discuss that with anybody. Period.
Okay.
Hold on. Their numbers not even listed. Seiko framed as though he called my PO. They didn't even know. When you go to probation, there's a couple of.
Now, logically, let's walk through this, right? If a random person calls somebody's parole officer, probation officer, whatever, and said that they was violating something, and this has been years ago, or a year, 2 years, whatever the case may be, don't we think, and again, we would have to say that the government's failing then, because if this phone call was actually made to somebody and there was a concern being that, it should be at that point in time, if somebody's not paying something or if something's not going right, then the expectations would be for the government to, we shouldn't even be seeing Corey right now if he's in violation, right? Because that's a violation of parole or probation. That's a violation, and it was reported. So if there was an issue, we shouldn't even be seeing Corey on the screen right now. Again, I don't know the details. I'm just logically walking through this like, well, if this is really the case, either the government is blind and stupid and not doing their job, which they should be held accountable, or Corey's that slick, maybe. I don't know. But I think there's some fault in the information that's being pushed, because I don't believe right now in this section is that it was exactly as it's being said. Because it's being said that information was given, it was established, now I can run with it and push it out, when that's not really the solid case of the information that's being put out. Again, I don't know what Corey owes. I don't know the arrangement. And honestly, I don't care. That's between Corey, government, victims. I can't affect that Monday through Friday, Saturday, Sunday. There's nothing I can do about that. Right? Let's continue.
Things you got to do. You have to fill out a report, a form. They're going to scour to see if there's any bank accounts or any information with your social, your wife's social, things like that. So you can't hide money. You can't, that doesn't go out. That doesn't fly. So to act as though that I got all this money and that I'm hiding it and they don't know and yada yada yada, that's a lie also. They know everything about what I'm doing or knew everything about what I was doing.
So they lied about you not owing? I'm just asking.
You didn't call them. That's the point.
Again, I'm going to nail this down. Make sure you write this down. They lied about you not owing. One would come to the conclusion of it was said to you that, yeah, he owes X amount of dollars. Again, Corey Minor, oh, yeah, he owes this much money. Now, what you're trying to do is correlate what the court document and the conviction or the I'm losing the word right now. What you're trying to do is extract the amount from the court document saying that's the present day balance. And you have no verification of that. And that's dangerous because that's what you're holding up as saying, yeah, he got out of jail. He ain't paid anything. Again, I do fault Corey to a certain extent. It's like, brother, you need to, like, you peel back the onion, peel back the eggshell, and nail that down, establish that, and that would be it. To however you deem fit on doing that, I can't tell you this is exactly how you're going to do it because you're your own man. But what's being pulled here, and if everybody's being honest, transparent, a balance was never told to a person. But what was put in the court documents, in the conviction, that's what's being pulled out and being presented as the present day balance. And that's not completely true. Because there was settlements, and I don't know what Corey pays, if he pays, I don't know. There's no way that I can twist his arm to make him tell me, show me, whatever, right? But that's the issue, and that's why I got questions. Was the $2.8 million, we know that that's documented, but it's being held up as the narrative as of today, as if it's still the outstanding balance. Based on an assumption. And honestly, I get it. I was called as violating the ninth commandment, but are we violating the ninth commandment here? Are we bearing false witness here? Because it's based on an assumption and not real data. Think about that.
Point. You didn't call them, Seiko.
I'm asking Corey. I'm asking.
I'm telling you. So the person that I spoke to, how you framed it. Hold on. How you framed it is that they lied. You didn't call them.
I'm not saying they lied. You're saying they lied. I ain't saying that.
But it's set up as a lie. Corey's not saying they're lying. He's saying that you don't know, but you're saying that you do know, and that's an issue. That's an issue.
I didn't say Seiko. You didn't call them, so nobody at probation lied.
I spoke to somebody at the parole office. They had your information.
The person.
That's not okay.
The person that you talked to, I don't know if it was a state office or what.
Hey, do they have access to your information? Whoever I spoke to, I don't care. I don't care if it was how.
Seiko, the lady that you called, or the man, I don't know who it was. The person that you called.
It was a lady.
Mm-hmm. Did they know me? Did they know my case?
No, they know your case personally. No.
Now, see, here's the issue. Right up until then, and I'm telling you what went through my mind right there. Like, wait a minute. Up until then, you guys heard everything that was being said. Did they lie about what you owe? Did they lie about your case? Did it, on so on and so forth? Now it's being said, no, they didn't know your case personally. Then who did you talk to? Where did you pull this information out? And how did we get to this narrative that's being kicked up again? And again, I'm not defending Corey. I'm asking people to really look at what's being said before we run and have our pitchforks out and all that stuff. What's really being said in these exchanges? All right. When they pulled up your information, again, put a pin in it because we'll see.
Why did you tell everybody you talked to my PO?
Okay, that's what I thought.
Now that's what he thought. You see how this is kind of crumbling down, but this was built into a series that, well, I talked to him, I got this information, blah, blah, blah. This is what you guys need to know. Now it's questionable because now, wait a minute, so you're not sure? You're responsible for all these people that are holding Corey accountable, but you're not sure. You see what I'm saying here? This is questionable.
No. What you thought and what you said, two different things. You said that you did, and his own PO didn't know.
So if I didn't speak to,
he's got a point.
Your PO, if I didn't speak to your PO, I apologize about that.
Now if I didn't speak to your PO, I apologize about that. Now we're going to scurry past that, but now if there's other information, an extended phone call or documents, whatever, that'd be pertinent to solidify what you're saying, but this don't look good compared to what was produced. I'm just saying.
Did I lie about you owing the money, Corey?
To a certain extent, yeah. Yeah, because we'll see in the phone call, that wasn't really established. And I'm speaking solely from the position of saying, was the restitution established in the court documents when he was convicted, however many years ago it is now? Yes. Is that the outstanding balance of today? I don't know. But one has to assume, because that is the only number being produced. So honestly, all of us excluding Corey right now, maybe Corey and his wife, his family, and the pro officer. Everybody else, unless Corey said this directly or showed you directly, everybody else, we don't know that balance. It could be $2.8 million now, or it could be $15.75. Now, I'm not excusing Corey, and I think Corey knows this at this point in time. That back then was horrible, especially as I think he was a youth pastor or something to that effect, being in the church, claiming to be born again. And let me say this. He knows it. I know it. We all know it. That was horrible. Horrible. And he said that himself. I don't need to stand on his neck about that. Don't need to stand on his neck about that. But this right here is the cause of many people holding resentment, grit, all this stuff against Corey Minor when it's not completely true. And that's an issue, because that does violate the ninth commandment. Tell me that it doesn't.
You didn't tell me what I owed. You said this guy's got all these accounts out there.
$874,469.60, Corey. You said Corey.
Again, you see it. The full amount from the court documents is being said, but is that the outstanding balance? One has to ask, is that the outstanding balance that you got from the parole office? Think about that.
All right, you said that you paid them back, Corey. Let's stick to the lie that you have told. You said you said you paid the people back. Have you paid them back?
The problem is you're trying to tell my story.
Corey, all I'm asking is a simple question. Everybody else wants to know.
No, you're not. You're asking questions like you paid. Then you're going to say it's not right. So
have you paid the victims back the money that you said you owed?
I have not, nor will I ever be able to pay. I can't pay.
But you said that you did, Corey.
Here's what I said. And on the Sir Walter, when Sir Walter Jones was on, I said I did, and then went to explain what I meant. Whether it was slip of the tongue, what have you. Hold on.
A fake document.
Okay. You said it was a fake document.
Yeah, it was. So it was a settlement document. It was a settlement.
Okay, let me ask you a question.
It's settled with the banks. They ain't settled with you.
Again, that's was it a fake document? No. Was it a settlement document? Yes. You see how that
it's hard when matter of fact, you know what? Wait a second. You got a lot of people in the chat that have researched me and looked things up. Ask them, just type this in. Does the Fifth Circuit allow a restitution victim, to receive a double payment?
Okay, so they'll go into some more stuff. So I kind of covered what my concern was, right? So the concern was the $2.8 million, the information that may or may not have been exchanged between Seiko and the parole office, probation office, whatever. Was that what was really being said? And is that the correct information? And I submit that that's not entirely true. I think it's a mix of or supplement of what's going on. And let's see. So this is one of the videos, and the exchange between Seiko and whoever's on the phone talking about Corey's information. Now, you have to slow down a bit, listen to what is being said and how it's being framed, and then think to yourself, like, well, wait a minute. So, yeah. So let's go.
People, microphones, and they giving him their subs. Yeah. Making much of Christ, though. Making much of Christ.
To do that first. Someone says, well, that don't make sense to me. Well, it doesn't have to make sense to you.
You see how he got triggered? You see how somebody said, man, that don't make no sense to me. That don't make any sense. Yeah, it don't have to make sense to you. It needs to make sense to us. Because it don't make any sense. We know you're lying. That's why.
I'm not asking you to make sense of it. I'm just telling you this is what's going on.
So restitution, and correct me if I'm wrong, but settling out of court with a bank and restitution, one is civil, the other is criminal. That's what he did, the restitution side.
So this is Seiko talking to this person on the other side of the phone, and they're talking about restitution, and he's telling this person about a situation, right? And I want to do this as well because some of the audio to me, and I have bad ears anyways, some of the audio is not that great. So I also want to have the transcript up as well, so you can kind of see what and the transcript's not 100%. Trust me, it doesn't follow the words exactly. But again, it says, I think this is what's going on. So restitution, so correct me if I'm wrong, but settling out of court, the bank restitution, one is civil, the other is criminal. That's what he did. Now he's telling the parole officer this, probation officer, I don't know the difference, honestly. Probation, parole. He's telling this person this. So why are you telling this person this? First of all, why are you telling this person this? They should already know it. If they're looking up his case, they got his information. they should be more intimate with it than most of us. The restitution side, he owes if he owes restitution. Now you see that he owes if he owes restitution. And I'm gonna play the audio, but I'm kind of just backdropping it with the transcript. He owes if he owes restitution, then he owes restitution. If the bank settled with a victim, that means the bank made the victim whole, but the bank still needs to be made whole. Now, this is what you'll hear this what this person said. What this person is not saying is, Corey Minor. Oh, yes, he does owe money. Yes, he does have an outstanding balance. That is not what you're hearing. And I'm not saying that Corey doesn't owe money. I'm not saying that Corey shouldn't pay the victims. I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is, what you see, what was presented in the other video was presented in multiple videos, and then comparing that to what was actually being said. Now, look, I was in the middle of it, and it kind of glossed over for me. Maybe my mindset at the time or whatever, but I know I missed it. But you're saying that you're getting information, you're saying that you're standing on something, but really it's a combination, and you're trying to make the correlation without having the actual information, and that's bearing false witness. Tell me that it's not, or it's lying, or not being really truthful. Because as we see, and I'll play the audio, this is the exchange. Correct me if I'm wrong, but settling out according to the bank and the restitution, one is civil, the other is criminal. That's what he did. The restitution side, he owes, if he owes restitution, then he owes restitution. All right, let's continue.
If he owes restitution, then he owes restitution.
You hear the lady say, if he owes restitution, he owes restitution. Again, she's not saying, Corey Minor, he does owe restitution, right? If that doesn't create an issue for you guys, I don't know what else to say.
If the bank settled with the victim, that means the bank made the victim whole, but the bank still needs to be made whole.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Yeah. Well, that's why.
But he's making money.
He's definitely making money, though.
So he's telling this person he's definitely making money, which the government should know this. Well, that's why he's definitely making money. He's making money off his, and that's what you need to let that officer know. So you didn't talk to the PO. You talked to somebody and informed them that they need to let Corey's PO know what Corey is doing. Again, I submit to you guys, if that is the case and this PO doesn't know what Corey's doing, that PO, now granted, they're probably overwhelmed with cases and people. Probably. I don't know their workload, but I'm pretty sure it's probably heavy. And somebody could slip through the cracks, right? But again, if this person did what was recommended, go tell this PO, hey, did you know this about this person? And that person, oh, no, I didn't. We shouldn't be seeing Corey right now. That's the logical ending of this. And if we're seeing Corey, then there's a couple of assumptions. One, the government's failing, or two, there's not an issue. Am I right or wrong? You guys help me out.
He's making money off of this.
And that's what you need to let that officer know, because if he's got 152 subscribers.
You hear a lot of if statements here, right? If he's got 152,000 subscribers, he's making money. He's making money off that. Yeah, he has two channels. He has two channels and a Patreon channel, right?
He's making 1,000 subscribers. He's making money off of that.
Yeah, he has two channels. He has two channels and a Patreon channel. But his revenue is at least nine.
Now, again, this information right here, his AdSense revenue is like $9,000 to $10,000 a month, I guess. A lot of those websites are not accurate. It's an estimation. I don't know what Corey makes. I don't care what Corey makes. I don't care what any content creator makes, really. I'm not going to worry myself about it. There's some sketchy people make a lot of money. There's some righteous people that make zero. I can't, rack my brain daily for that. I mean, I don't have the bandwidth for that. But if you're hearing an exchange, it's not an exchange of confirmation or affirmation. It is a discussion on hypothetically, or for a better term, is gaining an understanding. But it's not an exchange of honest data. It's not an exchange of actual information. It's a discussion in hopes to have that person action another person to action another person. That's what it is. And the problem with that is it's being held up as, no, he owes $2.8 million. I know this because I talked to somebody at an office and they confirmed it. But as you've seen the exchange earlier, that's kind of shaky. That's kind of movement. But because I feel like that you can't say that, but that's what's influencing another channel to do a video. A lot of subscribers, followers, and everybody else saying, oh, pounding their fist on the table based on a violation of the 9th commandment. Because here we see in the call that you published that is not entirely the case the case that you've been producing. It's better off to say, I don't know, because I don't know the outstanding balance. I can't say that it's $2.8 million because I don't have access to that information. So you can't say that, or you can say that there was a judgment against him in $2.8 million. I don't know where that stands today. I can say that, Corey, please, if you can, if you feel led to, lay all that out. I know you laid a challenge out to these guys. I don't know if they're going to accept it. I don't know, whatever. That's whatever. But this is my concern, is like, that wasn't totally the truth that's being produced in comparison with that exchange and this phone call.
$9,000 a month.
Oh.
Yes, ma'am. Oh, yes, ma'am. Between $7,000 and $9,000 a month. AdSense revenue.
Yep. Call over to Northern District. Tell them that, and if the person needs.
Now, see, she's saying, she said this again. You didn't hear any exact information about Corey being exchanged. So honestly, she did the right thing. She did the right thing, right? She didn't actually give him this. This is a discussion between people. Now, you see here, she says, call over to the North District, tell them that, and if that person needs to, they, just know it moves up to speak to a supervisor or something. So she don't know. She's just giving what she knows about the procedures and laws. Oh, this person has a restitution that they need to pay. Yeah, they have to pay this restitution. And then the assumption is being made, the judgment was in $2.8 million, so surely he still owes $2.8 million. And that's what's being said today. Again, we already addressed, yes, Corey, it was wrong for stealing the money, taking the money, what the scheme, all of that. You know it, I know it. You said it, I'm saying it. Has he repented? I don't know. I don't know if he repented as soon as the verdict came down. I don't know if he repented when he came out of jail. I don't know if he repented yesterday. I don't know. None of us know. Do I need to have them come on here on YouTube to repent again? Keep repenting until everybody's heard that a person's repented. What's the standard? What's the standard? Now it's moving into, personal exchange rather than being right with the Lord. If I got to clear it to you to be right with the Lord, then there's a problem. There's a problem. I'm not saying lie about it, be shady about it, or anything like that. I'm not saying that. But what I'm saying is we need to check ourselves, because this right here, this is wrong, been wrong. And a lot of people need to wake up to this part of it and say, wait a minute, that's not entirely true. And I'll say this as I do content occasionally. I follow channels, watch the stuff. We, as a consumer of social media, we really need to stop, pull our ears open, and make sure that we're paying attention, because a lot of stuff is being said, how it's being said. And I'm not just talking about this, I'm talking in general. We miss a lot of stuff and then we run with it, and we're running in the wrong direction a lot of times. So this is for me as much as it is for anybody else. We really need to take a knee and think about what's being said and the direction that we're running with it, and the filter in which we hear it. That's an issue too. Let's continue. Then I'm going to get out of here, guys.
Do you feel like they just, move up and speak to us or something?
Okay.
Yeah, if that's what if he's making that kind of money and he owes restitution, then yeah, the government would love to know so they can get.
So the government would love to know. So the government doesn't know? Again, this is an issue. Either the government's failing, or this wasn't really an affirmation that Corey owes money. And I'm not, again, I have to repeat this because if it gets clipped or whatever, I'm not saying that he doesn't owe money. I don't know if he does. I kind of assume that he does, because that's a pretty large amount to rectify. And I don't know how much money Corey makes. That's not a concern of mine. That's Corey, his family, and whatever. Not worry about another man's pocket. But yeah, this was concerning, because if somebody heard this in a filter, they're hearing what's being said, but that wasn't what was really happening, is my thing. But if he's making that kind of money, he owes restitution, then yeah, the government would love to know so they can get that check. Now, this shortly ends, and I want you to hear what's being said.
See, this parole officer didn't even know that Corey has 3, not 1, not 2.
But this wasn't his parole officer. I didn't hear her look up his information. I heard a discussion between you and a person on the other end of the phone. They could have been just answering the phones that day. I don't know. It's never confirmed who that is. It's only being a discussion if that was the parole officer or not. It was somebody who answered it. But that wasn't, and you admitted it on the other end, on the other video, you admitted that you didn't talk to this parole officer, and that parole officer would never give you that information anyways. By law, they would never give you that information. So this is wrong. This is completely wrong.
But
regardless if Corey is lying about if payments, non-payments, paid in full, this is wrong, because a lot of videos and narratives have been pushed from this information. This is wrong.
Monetized accounts that he's making revenue from. He's already been in violation of his early release agreement. He's been in violation of his restitution order. They didn't know until.
See what's being said here, and this is wrong. This is bearing false witness, because that person didn't confirm or say anything other than the discussion between you and her on that issue. That was never confirmed in that conversation. Again, now if there's a longer conversation where that happened, that's what needs to be shown. That's what needs to be played. And then that would solidify this narrative. But that's not what's being said here. And if we're being honest, everybody has to say that's not what's being said. That's wrong. That is wrong. And that's a violation. I'm just saying, man, I'm doing this as lovingly as possible.
Till I called him. And why did I call him? Because he was lying. Why did I call him? Because he was defrauding his neighbor. That's why I called him. Why did I call him? Because the word of God commands us, believers, Christians, to not participate in the unfruitful deeds of darkness, to sit back and watch this man lie, to sit back and watch this man say that he paid victims back their money and knowing that he didn't, and he's making a grip and then some per month off of the ignorance of some of you. Yeah, I called the United States government. I sure did. And listen, I felt nothing.
And I'm gonna stop it there. All right, guys. So I submit to you guys, if you watch this video, look at the comparison there and tell me if that's not a violation of the ninth commandment, right? Because what is being said, what is being pushed is assumptions. It's not affirmation. It's not confirmation. It's assumptions. It really is. I mean, you make the comparison and see what happened in the exchanges in the prior video, in that call, and you come to your own conclusion. But I feel like that's not really the truth. That's not what's being said. And that's wrong. And I'm sorry I participated in it, in that part. And again, Corey has his own accountability that he needs to face with that, with everything. And I'm going to leave it to God for that. But I know this bothered me, and this was wrong. This is wrong. And people making videos and stuff again and again and again, saying the same amount again and again and again without the data that backs that up is wrong. This is honest as I can be with it. So, yeah. With that being said, y'all, hey, y'all have a blessed day. I'll pray for you. Pray for me. Love you guys. Until next time. This is just Dan, and I'm out.